And welcome to our live coverage of Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. This is round 4 of the series. Speedson's Building Supplies Jim Clark Rally, and we have swapped the sunshine of the Isle of Man with the sunshine of the borders of Scotland. It is absolutely glorious out here, and it's made more glorious by the fact that accidentally we bumped into a couple of rally drivers who are going to talk us through this stage. Matt Jackson, who looks delighted to have chanced upon the live TV coverage, and he's got his split watch out, and Scott Faulkner. So Scott's been eating his apples, and he's all good to go. We are going to, before we get to the action, and we're just a few minutes away from the cars coming through this first stage of the evening, Long Formacus is a fantastic stage. We drove it on the way in. It's got a bit of everything, farmyards, it's got cattle grids, it's got hills, it's got rolling countryside, and it's got some of the best roads that you will see on the championship this season. Guaranteed. Absolutely fantastic stage, and it's glorious weather. It's going to be a great night here on the Scottish borders. First though, we caught up with some of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship crews in the service area earlier to get a feel for how they were looking at this event 4 rounds into the series after a bit of a tumultuous Manx rally. Here's what a few of them had to say.
Yeah, no, the stages are mega, quite iconic really, especially tonight's Abbey St Bathans. It's a bit unique, really fast stage. But also very technical in places, some important cuts, you need to carry the speed in certain places and keep you on your toes. So yeah, 2 passes of that tonight, and then the stages tomorrow, use more main roads, a few more chicanes and stuff like that. So 2 sort of different styles of days, but equally both challenging days.
No, we decided not to do the shakedown. I drove the car briefly at home, so I know everything's working as it should. Yeah, the stages. It's a long time since I've done this rally, about 17 years ago, so the rally was a little bit different back then, but some of the stages I recognise here, and there's a lot of broken tarmac and recent sort of repairs, so it might be a little bit gravelly and slippy, so we'll just have to see, be cautious I think really in places.
Well, we're looking to have a good result at the Manx, maybe sort of home for 20, top 20 like. But no, the stages are looking good. I'm looking forward to this one tonight. It looks a good stage, good long stage over the mountains, so we're both looking forward to it. Hopefully make the right tyre choice. Anyways,
the stages are a bit different to the Manx. Obviously there's a lot more speed in the Manx, but all in all there's some really good stages here. There's some tricky bits and some fast bits, so yeah, I think it's going to be a good rally. The pace is going to be hot, especially at the front with these lads, from the BRC and that, but from the Protyre side I think it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I've just got to keep a clean sheet and get through to the end. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, the crash was actually, we were pushing on a bit, and that's what happens when you do so, but got back in the car on the shakedown today, felt super, really, really good. So yeah, we're looking forward to a good rally. Abbey St Bathans isn't my favourite stage. It's everybody else's favourite stage, but it's not mine. But the stages tomorrow I really like. So, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So, as you can see, everybody looking forward to the stages after the recce. And as I said, driving into this Long Formacus stage, absolutely fantastic. Lee Tyndall agrees. Thank you for tuning in this evening. Hello, if you're watching in Duns in the town centre. I'm gutted I didn't get out to the start because, Matt Jackson, you've done this rally before, and the atmosphere, in fact, you might have done it when they had a town centre stage, did you?
Yeah, I did. Did the rally 3 times now. I got to say, it's probably one of the best rally atmospheres I've ever experienced. It's absolutely brilliant.
Last year, the first proper year of the Jim Clark post-COVID, was absolutely incredible, the atmosphere. You couldn't move for people and rally cars in the town centre. So I'm gutted I'm not down there. But if you are, I hope you're having a really good night so far and enjoying watching the cars come through the start. And there was a Lotus Cortina part down there. I hope it was at least a Jim Clark replica, if not the car out of the museum itself, because that's quite a formidable car for this part of the world, isn't it? So you've got your split. Watch out, we are waiting for the first of our competitors through. We're mixing ranks this weekend in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship with the British Rally Championship crew. So you'll get the full entry through the stage, but we will obviously be covering the narrative of the Asphalt Championship crews on this weekend's Jim Clark Rally. But the first car through will be WRC 2 competitor Adrian Formo. Mixing his campaign this year with the BRC. He went well at the opening round, but he doesn't have as much experience on asphalt.
No, he doesn't. I think we can hear him approaching down the valley now, but it'll be really interesting to see how he goes actually in comparison to the likes of Cronin, who, let's face it, I think is a master of this stage. So it'll be really interesting in a few minutes' time to see where the splits are laying.
We're about 3/4 of the way into this 11.3
along for Macca's stage, and it's a good stage to get your teeth into, Matt. Have you done this stage in this format? I don't know if you will have done, will you?
I did, yes, back in the day of the I think the Super 1000 Micra. So ran on a Friday night in the low sun. Again, the atmosphere and just the experience of a stage like this is just, you can't beat it anywhere.
I said earlier, it's got a bit of everything. You come through, there's a dusty farmyard section, the sun was just coming really low. It just looked like you typical rally stage on a computer game, everything thrown into it.
It is. It's one of those things when you say, I want to go rally, and this is what you dream of. And I think having done it, you kind of go, oh, that was brilliant. I want to do it again and again. So it's great to see it back. And yeah, hopefully we'll be back in next year or the year after.
As glorious as it looks, though, it is tricky. It's really tight in parts. There are some places you really don't want to get a tyre off the tarmac, and there's bits where it looks like you could cut, but then when you look down, as we get Formo into view, you don't want to cut because there's bits of loose rock and all sorts of other things to catch you out. So you're going to get a good long shot here. You see the car just drifting out over that first crest towards the bank, just kicking a bit of dust up, and there, a big cut from car number 1, Adrian Formo, Alexandra Corrier in the Fiesta Rally 2, the M Sport car. Matt and Scott enjoying that Fiesta Rally 2 through there. Scott, you're not a man who's done an awful lot of tarmac, but you've got a big smile on your face. You quite fancy being out here, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. You see some of these world-class drivers coming through some of these stages, and you think, well, we watched them in car last year. Rory Bell, I think he'd come and done it with the BRC, and you look, and Keith Cronin was taking 20 seconds out of what looked like a fantastic stage already. And
here is the man you just mentioned, again, just drifting the car out towards a lot more air there on the first of the yumps as well. Matt's ready with the split tyre. Again, a big cut through with the Volkswagen Polo, giving a feel for what we can expect through from the first of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship cruise. That's down, is it?
Yeah, we had us 10 down at this point, so that shows, wow, what a run by Formo so far.
And Cronin was pushing on as well. He got a lot more air over that little jump over there. As they come through that first of the crests, the cars, you can see them drifting out towards the bank. That is tight through there, isn't it?
It is, and when you approach it, you can't see anything. There's a hedge on the inside and that bank on the outside. It's tricky.
So here's Callum Black. He's mixing ranks this weekend doing the BRC, but he's the first of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship competitors. Comes here 4th in the championship. Didn't do the first round, the East Riding stages, but he had a second and, of course, that win on the 2 rounds that made up the Manx Rally. Where was Black?
20 down on the leader, but here's James Williams already.
James Williams through in his Fiesta, hot on the tail of the black Fiesta of Callum Black in that orange colour scheme. Neat and tidy through there, and didn't take quite as big a cut as the first 3 cars through there, James Williams. Looking for Elliot Payne, who's the second of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship competitors. Hasn't done that much so far in the series. Had a podium finish at the regroup East Riding stages to open the season. Oh, went really fast over that crest that Matt was talking about a minute ago. He is blind when he come over there, and if you carry too much speed, you've got to scrub it off to the side. Almost had 3 wheels off and on the cut here as well, pushing hard, Elliot Payne.
Yeah, we had a sort of 3 or 4 up on Callum, so it's very close there. Obviously, Formo and Cronin up the road, but very close so far.
Elliot needs some points on the board because he hasn't done the last 2 rounds. If you didn't go to the Manx, you lost out on 2 scores. We've got a mirror flapping here on Gary Pearson's. Not just a mirror flapping, quite a bit of bodywork flapping on that Polo R5 of Gary Pearson. Had a bit of a do earlier in this stage, so he'll be, 7 miles into this rally and already some bodywork to fix. Oh, another really wide line into there. Here's Ewan Thorburn now, Paul Beaton alongside. And the car really crossed up into that cut, almost making a jump out of that corner, and he went in so fast, taking a real racing line out towards the bank.
That was proper quick, wasn't it? I think we had him 4 down on the leader, so definitely right up there, and you can definitely see that from here.
Coming over that crest then, we saw, Elliot came over there absolutely flying, showing definitely the pace, but perhaps he's not as experienced as the others on these types of roads, and you've got to respect them, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. You see the likes of Cronin. I think the number of times he's done this rally so far, it's all down to that experience and knowledge. It's, Elliot's going very well, and I think imagine some more years to come.
Hello to Bonnie Papa, who was out on the plains last weekend. Colin Minton, and she was on the Manx with us in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, co-driving a couple of weeks ago tuned in. Hello to Paul Morris, our championship coordinator, and a man who knows these roads pretty well. David Bogey, who's next on the road in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, looking to get some points on the board because currently has no scores, having not done the first 3 rounds, and there is a big gap. Okay, I had a half shaft problem apparently in the shakedown stage. So whether or not Dale Robertson and Keir Beaton through in their Fiesta Rally 2. So David Bogey currently, again, another modified front end on the front left clearly taking a bit of a clip. Do you know, as you come through one of those cattle grids, just a couple of miles back from this point, there are a couple of posts on the left as you come through, and I did think they're very close to the road, and you've got a couple of left-hand corners rearranged there. Hello to Thomas McElraith, Damien Craig, Dean Ruskell. Remember not to click on any links under the coverage. You don't ever have to pay for your special stage coverage. If you're on it, you're on it. This is it. Neil Ruskell, Andrew Ruffhead, our championship leaders. Taking a really big cut in that Rally 2 Fiesta. Second place. Last time out on the Manx Rally. 5th place on day 1, which was round 2 of the championship on the Isle of Man a couple of weeks ago, and he started the season off with a top 10. That sees him leading the championship coming into this 4th round. Beatson's Building Supplies Jim Clark Rally. David Wright, Paula Swinsko chasing down Roskell for the championship lead at the moment. 2nd place. The 2nd place to start the year on the Reed Group East Riding stages, and then 1st on the first of the Manx rounds. Not making it out after a big battle into the second half of the day on the Manx. Not making it out into the last, what was it, last couple of stages, wasn't it? Really good battle going into that, and then unfortunately an accident for David Wright, meaning he didn't score any points at that 3rd round. But he's here and very much in the hunt for the title as things stand. Michael Binney, Claire Mole. And then Mitsubishi just splitting our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship crews. I do love delivery on David Henderson's Rally 2. Chris Lee's alongside, the sun just coming down. That must look absolutely glorious. Actually, I've got the screen in front of me on your screen on this long shot coming through this long Formaca stage. 11.3 miles this opening stage of the evening. We've got 2 stages this evening. We'll be live with you here on special stage for both of them. And as you can see, we have swapped. If you've just tuned in, welcome to the live coverage of round 4 of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. We've swapped the sunshine of the Isle of Man for the sunshine of the borders of Scotland. And it's a really nice atmosphere. Matt mentioned earlier, Matt Jackson, Scott Faulkner joining me here, somewhat accidentally, but I'm delighted to have them with us because we get a bit of a view from inside the rally car as well on this stage, because Matt's done this rally 4 times. And we were talking about what a great stage this is, Matt, and how much you've got to respect it, and there's some big cuts going on.
There is, and to be honest, it's all about the knowledge, just to understand where you can and can't. Well, 2 cars here together, wow.
Yeah, and again, you can see coming up that crest. So Rory Young there being chased down by James Ford. James Ford, 21st in the Protyre Asphalt Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, having got a 4th place at the opening round but not scored on the last 2. So he needs some points on the board here. He'll be extremely frustrated to have come through that stage and caught the similar car. The Citroen C3 Rally 2 of Rory Young, Alan Kellers in front. Alan Carmichael, Arthur Kieran in the Hyundai i20 R5. To remind you, if you're just tuning in, the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship is joining ranks with the British Rally Championship here. So our leaderboards and the entry list are mixed up, and it does look good, doesn't it, with the sun coming down low on this long shot through this stage. We're about 3/4 of the way in. Producer Wayne pointing to something on the Damien Craig is back with some results. He's our resident results man. Okay, so in terms of our We'll go with the overall results in a minute, but Elliot Payne, Tom Woodburn leading Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship Cruise. Callum Black behind, and it's a 6-second gap as well, so it is close, as Matt said. David Wright, the third of our crews. What's that, another 14 back. Neil Roskell behind him, another 5. So first and second in the series tight in this first stage. The third and fourth tight as well. Damien Craig giving us the overall results there for Mo. If you're following the overall rally results leading from Ewan Thorburn at the minute. Thorburn knows these lanes very well. Keith Cronin in third place. He was on a big push through here, but he was 10 down at that point, and Formo taking another 2 out of him. Only, what, 8 seconds ahead of Thorburn, though? I mean, to be pushing a Works rally driver in a Works team when Thorburn hasn't had an awful lot of action recently. That's good going.
Yeah, it is, and I think this might be the first time out in the Polo R5 as well, so that's very good going for the first run through here.
He is quick on these lanes, though, isn't he? He loves this rally, being his local event. So, Matt, inside the car then through this stage, the sun's coming down low, and you have done it in similar conditions. You can see the spectators, you can feel the atmosphere, and you know you're on a really iconic bit of tarmac. Yeah,
you do. And as I said before, it's one of those things where you've watched all the in-car from years gone by. So Tapio Alkinen back in the 90s in the F2 car, and you think, that's me. Obviously not as committed or anywhere near as fast, but you want to be in his shoes, and you have been, and it's just fantastic. Yeah, I absolutely loved it.
This is a great looking car. Stephen Petch, Michael Wilkinson, and we've got really close. We've got 3 cars. Nigel Worswick, Dylan Thomas behind, and then John Stone and Laura Connell in the Polo R5. Not taking quite as big a cut through this corner here. John and Laura having an off in the Polo on the Manx last time out, so perhaps just feeling their way in here. And another crew who had an off at the last round of the series was this pair. Stephen Simpson, Patrick Walsh in that Rally 2 Fiesta. It had its engine out 2 days ago. I mean, it was at M Sport, so you'd expect them to do a quick job, but 2 days ago the engine was out. Patrick shared a photo on Twitter, and they did more damage than I thought in that off on the Manx. Were you following that?
I was, of course, watching the special stage coverage, but again, the Manx is one of those where you sat at home thinking, oh, I wish I was there. It was weather like this, actually, wasn't it? So, again, another fantastic rally, part of the championship. And yeah, it was a close competition, and I think good win for Callum, and shows the pace today. That tarmac pace is really there so far. So
yeah, it was, and being a 2-round event on the Manx, it made for an interesting leaderboard. Scott Macbeth, Daniel Forsyth there, somehow finding a bit of a yump that didn't look like it was there for any of our former competitors. I think Elliot maybe found that one as well. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Special Stage. Welcome to our live coverage of the opening evening. 2 special stages of the Beatsons Building Supplies Jim Clark Rally. It is round 4 of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Hello to you if you're watching from home. Hello if you're watching from the town centre in Duns on the big screen. We're delighted to be here. It's everyone, one of everyone's favourite rallies of the year, the Jim Clark, isn't it? It's like the Manx, it's iconic, and as Matt Jackson just said, who's joining me on the hillside here at the side of this Longformacker stage, it's one of those rallies that you remember your heroes and your legends doing big things on. 30-second intervals this evening, so you can see that's creating a couple of hold-ups. Alistair Inglis, Colin Inglis there holding up Simon Bowen and Craig Simkis, who just missed out on a top 10 at the opening round of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. 11th place at the Reed Group East Riding stages in their Fiesta S2000 Turbo, one of the Neil Horn's converted Fiesta S2000s with the turbo engine. Simon switching from his Subaru World Rally car to that Fiesta, and to struggle with the pace early on at the East Riding stages, and by the time he'd sort of found that pace again, it was a little too late for a top 10 result, but he was quick. And there's a man who's really quick and had quite a big off at the Manx, but managed to get the car back after some local work at a local garage, we managed to source a Mark II Escort grill in the middle of the Isle of Man, which I thought was quite impressive, Matt. Darren Atkinson, Mark Twynham alongside. 12th place at the opening round, just behind Simon Bowen, actually. Comes here 11th in the championship. Some extra points added because of his class finish in that Mark II Escort. Hunter, Martin Woodcock again. Scott knows what it's like to pedal an Evo like that, but this is not necessarily on tarmac. They were trying to find a bit of a yump there.
Yeah, they're quite a heavy car still compared to some of these more modern Rally 2 machinery, but still going well and still holding their own in their classes. So it's good, really good to see the Mitsubishi still out and put to their competitive paces.
Speaking of which, I mean, we've seen some big names through in very similar colour schemes to that, actually, over the years in a Mitsubishi. It was that an Evo 6, isn't it? Barry Groundwater, Martin Forrest. It is, it's not an Evo 5. I called an Evo 6 an Evo 5, and do you know what? All hell broke loose on the comments under the stream. So I've got to be really careful now. John Hawkins wishing he was here in his silly seat with us on the Jim Clark. William Patterson, Tom Hind through. Local pair in there, R5. To remind you, if you're just tuning in, we are covering the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Of course, we'll have all of the crews through this first and indeed the second stage of the evening as we go through this first leg of the Jim Clark Rally. We are mixing ranks with the British Rally Championship this weekend here on the borders of Scotland. This is the Long Formaca stage, 11.9 actually miles long, this stage. Johnny Mulholland and Tracy in their Fiesta Rally 3. Interesting cars, the Fiesta Rally 3s. If you've had a look close up, there's a lot of kit going on under there.
There is. I'm actually quite surprised you shakedown this morning, just quite how well they go. And their noise, they do sound phenomenal when you stood here. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they now compare to the more modern or the faster Rally 2 cars.
Well, we'll have a good comparison soon because William Hill will be through, who comes here third place in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship in the Hills Ford Fiesta Rally 3. There's an exciting car to be bouncing around these tight, twisty lanes. You heard Neil Roskell in the interviews at the start talking about how there's not quite as much speed here compared to the Isle of Man, but there's a lot of technical stages, and this first stage of the rally really does. You really do need to be precise and quite technical through here if you're going to get fast and keep it on the road. Gordon Morris and Mike Dixon through in their Mark II there. Second of our two-wheel drive cars through. We are just waiting. A couple of cars' time we'll see from our third place championship point sitter William Hill in that Fiesta Rally 3. Mike English back in action as well after a difficult Manx for him. Just looking through the results at the moment. Here we go. So there's Campbell in the 206, being followed by that Fiesta Rally 3 that I just mentioned. Nurster, very interesting problem on the Isle of Man. I say interesting because the rear brakes on that Fiesta glowing as he came through here, and you can smell the brakes really pushing in that remarkably raughty sounding Fiesta Rally 3. Quite surprising sounding and looking car on pace as well, as Matt said. But yeah, they struggled with problems with the brakes on the rear of that car, and they couldn't get parts. They tried downgrading it to R2 spec, they tried upgrading it to R5 spec, but everything on that Rally 3 Fiesta is bespoke to the Rally 3 category of car from M Sport, and they could not get parts. So again, these problems become bigger in your head, and we mentioned this a few times on that last day of the Manx. They become bigger in your head than they are in reality sometimes, but that brake problem was a real problem. Andy Murphy telling us that Andy Davison is down there below us somewhere. We did hear some heckling actually earlier, so just having a glance into the distance, see if I can see Andy Davison, one of our BTRDA competitors. Matt Jackson's pointed him out.
Yeah, you can just see Tom's white bucket hat from here.
Mike English now in his Fiesta Rally 2. Andy Robinson alongside. Hasn't had the best starts to the season. He needs some points on the board, does Mike, in that Fiesta. We're 4 rounds in then to the Motorsport UK Protyre Asphalt Rally Championship. We started with the Group East riding stages, then we had 2 rounds on the Manx Rally, and that was grueling. We had some attrition to battle with on day 2, but pretty much everybody is back here for round 4, the Beatson's Building Supplies Jim Clark Rally. Best wishes to Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg, who are taking a bit of time just to recover from their fairly heavy impact on day 2 of the Manx. But I'm pleased to say, we'll be back fighting before long. Peter Stewart, Harry Marchbank look like they've had a bit of a do in that 208 Rally 4, bit of a stoved in front end, so it's already a bit of an eventful stage for a few cars. Just stage 1 of our rally. The BRC crews will do one more stage than the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship crews this weekend. Okay, the stage has been stopped. We've got a bit of a medical incident, but nothing to do with a competing car, so we will have a bit of a gap here. Don't forget, if you want to check out the live results yourself, you can do. All you've got to do is go to results.djames.org.uk. And if you are thinking of coming out spectating on the Jim Clark Rally this weekend, please do check the spectator information on the website and on the Jim Clark Facebook page, because you need to make sure you do follow the instructions, because there are certain places you can go, certain places you can't, and of course there are road closures to take into account as well. There's some really good information on the website. You can follow the action though on special stage. So we're going to just take a slight break while we just wait for this gap in the action, so do stay with us and we'll be back shortly with more action from this first stage of the Beatson's Building Supplies Jim Clark Rally Round 4 of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Back soon, stay with us. Welcome back to our special stage coverage of the fourth round of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. If you're still watching with us in Duns Town Centre, hello to you. If you're watching from home, thank you for staying with us. We had a bit of an issue to sort out, nothing to do with a competitor, I'm pleased to say, and we're now back underway here for the Beatsons Building Supplies Jim Clark Rally. And the sun has gone down, the midges are now with us, well and truly with us, despite Scott Faulkner having some fairly funky smelling midge spray, which I'm pretty sure is Frylight, not midge spray actually. Matt Jackson, I don't know how you're going to cope with Frylight on that tender forehead of yours when the sun comes back out tomorrow. Here we are though, we're back underway, and what on earth are you doing, Matt Jackson? Matt, who's done this rally 4 times before, joins us, and Scott Faulkner as well. I think they probably, if they could have escaped the stage, would have done so, because they knew that I was going to put them back on the live coverage as soon as the cars came back through. So we should be, who do we think we got up to? We should be having Brad Cole through. I can definitely hear a fairly high revving car in the distance here in this Long for Macca stage. Talk us through the stage very briefly, Matt. You've done this one before. The sun's starting to set. It's a bit cooler under the tyres.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky now, isn't it? With the cars haven't been sat for a bit of time on the start line, so everything's a bit cold. But yeah, the temperature's starting to go down, and
You've lost that low sun though, so you haven't got that awkward period where you can't quite see because of the sun.
that's it. So it's faster now, then, right? I think that's the way it should be.
Spoken like a true driver.
Something like that, yeah.
It is a cracking stage. If the people who didn't tune into the first part of the stage, we did describe it, but you've got farmyard, you've got cattle grid, you've got drops, you've got hills, you've got a really steep climb after the Abbey St Bathans part of the stage where you go. It's a really steep climb, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and that's the bit which usually catch you out with the low sun. So you just come out into the moorland section, and there it is, out of the trees, and yeah, the sun's in your eyes. But I mean, yeah, there's all sorts. There's a double width road, which is really fast, and obviously where we are here, sort of lots of bumps, crests, and single track, and lots of things to catch you out actually in here.
Nice long shot we've got for you here. So as the cars come into view, we saw, I think it was Elliot Payne, wasn't it, in the Mango Go Fiesta Rally 2, who really threw the car over the crest. So they come into view over a fairly blind crest, and you've got to respect that. And if you know these roads, you know not to go too hard over crests that you can't see what's coming the other way, because it's not like the Manx, is it? It's a lot more tight and twisty and technical here.
It is, and yeah, that piece of road you're describing over there, that's the yeah, it's caught out many people in the past. So yeah, I think Elliot was very, very lucky to get over that, but shows just the kind of commitment that those boys are on.
So just having a quick look down our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship competitors so far. Elliot Payne, Tom Woodburn lead the way, 6 seconds ahead of Callum Black and Jack Morton in that pair of Fiesta Rally 2s. Both of those guys also registered for British Rally Championship points, because the Protyre Motorsport UK Championship crews are sharing the billing here on the Jim Clark Rally with the BRC. The only difference in the stage mileage being 1 extra run of Eccles at the end of the event tomorrow for the BRC crew. So quite a comparable set of stages, really. David Henson, Chris Lees in 3rd place, a further 12 seconds, so nearly 13 seconds back from Callum Black. So quite tight up ahead after one stage. We've got another stage here through Long for Macca's, another 11.9 mile stage this evening. And certainly with that delay we've had, we will be... spot lamps will be getting bolted on in the service area that perhaps weren't be formally expected to be bolted on, Matt. They've definitely got a different game plan for tonight now.
They have, and I suppose one thing that's great is the one thing that makes a rally car look even better is a good lamp pod.
So we've gone back to lamp pods. Take nothing away from laser lamps. I know they're effective. I know they do the job really, really well, and they can look cracking. But I love a lamp pod, and we're going back to them, aren't we? Although they're quite expensive these days. I remember when lamp pods on the cars I used to rally cost, 300 quid from Demon Tweaks, and you put your own lamps in them. I think you need to get a mortgage out for an M Sport lamp pod, don't you?
You do, and that makes it even more scary when you're approaching some of these chicanes. I remember when we did it, this kind of weather, put the lamp pod on, really excited. The car looked mega, and all it did was catch flies. Unfortunately, didn't even turn it on. It didn't go dark enough. I was gutted.
Yeah, I remember putting it on in my little Ford KA Challenge car, and everything died because there was that much power being sapped out of these massive PIAA units on the front of the bonnet, and it was just like I didn't even need it on, but it was just for the sake of having it on. But genuinely, there is a lot of kit in these, especially in the M Sport ones, in the Rally 2 Fiestas that you'll see, because they're auto level and they've got all sorts of motors and mechanisms when you have a look at them.
Yeah, they have, and actually the technology these days is amazing. When you use one of those, you see how well it lights up the road in front of you, and obviously if you do need to use it, that's where all the advantages come from.
So we're just awaiting the next of the cars through the stage. If you're just tuning in, thank you for joining us. This is still the first stage of the evening. We had a bit of a gap for a non-competitor related medical emergency, which has been sorted out thanks to the hard-working volunteers, marshals and officials, without whom, of course, and Matt Jackson and I were just talking about this. That was the voice you were just hearing there, by the way, if I didn't introduce properly. Matt Jackson, who is currently building a micro kit car. We've both been nerding out about kit cars and rally cars in the in-between time. We might share a bit of that with you. But we were just talking about the fact that, you know, this sport relies so heavily on volunteers, and motor clubs, you know, need some fresh blood in. So if you do watch this live stream, or if you're coming out to watch on the Jim Clark or any of the rounds of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship this season, or indeed any other rallies, and you fancy getting a little closer to the action, there's some really good videos on the Motorsport UK TV page that you've just set up, isn't there, Matt? And you can watch what a scatter rally's like, for example, which is a kind of scaled down road rally, really. And there's some really good ways of getting involved by joining your local motor club, isn't there?
There is, and there's so many different ways to get involved into motorsport. Obviously, this is one of the top tiers and the main things to aim for, this like amazing stage rally. But yeah, I mean, it's motorsportuk.tv. And on there's all sorts of different types of event, and how to find your local motor club, how to get involved, to come and watch, come and marshal on a rally, how to help out in all different ways, and how to get involved in competing. So yeah, it's you can't urge people enough to come and get involved. We need more people, we need younger people. So yeah, get on there, check it out, and we'll see people out here.
And everybody you see out here competing did start by going to the local motor club and sitting and having a pint and chatting through old rallies with people in the motor club, and it starts there. Anyway, here we go. We're back underway. This should be, I was going to say, Brad Con, we're going to nail my colours to that mast. Twitching and diving that Escort around. It looks stiff. It's got a really stiff setup compared to Darren Atkinson that we saw through earlier. The car was a little bit loose, wasn't it?
It was, I guess, completely different driving styles and how the people want the drivers want the cars to react and the attitude. So just great to watch, and they sound phenomenal, don't they?
Yeah. Brad and Darren, two really phenomenally quick Mark II Escort drivers, and you'll see when we get to the end of day one, we'll have some fairly giant-killing two-wheel drive performances from those two particularly, but more besides. Sam Adams, Michael Johnston, they were top 10 overall result on the Manx Rally. As you see, Carl White, one of the BRC, junior BRC competitors, getting very close to the bank there. But Sam Adams and Michael Johnston they were 7th overall on the Manx in that Mark II Escort, first in class. And to be 7th overall on the Manx in a Mark II Escort, B12 Mark II Escort, is just incredible, Matt.
That takes some doing, doesn't it? It really, really does. I can imagine that was a really hard couple of days rallying, actually. But yeah, really impressive results. So that's
I mean, given it was two events, the Manx, they were 15th and first in class on the first day. But it was just a shame we didn't have Darren Atkinson and Brad Cole out there, because the three of those would have been really going at it on day two. But yeah, fantastic performance. And I know we had Paul Morris, our very experienced co-driver in his own right, but our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship coordinator out with us. And Paul Wakely also joined us, and those pair were waxing lyrical about the performance being put in by Sam Adams. And actually Brad Cole joined us on the evening for a meal, and Sam surprised quite a few people. Surprised is the wrong word. Impressed quite a few people with that performance in that Mark II. So looking forward to seeing those times come through. So to remind you, in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship cruise so far, after one stage, Elliot Payne, Tom Woodburn, that Mango Go Fiesta lead by 6 seconds to Callum Black and Jack Morton. David Henderson and Chris Lees, who took such a convincing victory at the opening round of the Reed Group East Riding Stages, 12.9 back from the similar Fiesta Rally 2 of Callum Black. Behind them, David Wright, Paula Swinscoe. That Fiesta R5. Ominous pace on the Manx before their unfortunate incident put the rear suspension through the inner wheel arch turret. It was quite a dramatic mechanical failure on that car for them in the end. Disappointing to drop them from that fight with Callum Black, but up until that point, it had been extremely entertaining. They currently sit in 4th place, under 3 seconds behind Henderson, though, and no doubt on a charge. James Ford, Neil Shanks, who did get caught a car in that stage, in their C3 Rally 2 and were particularly unhappy. I saw Matt Cosson's interviews at the stage end. They're in 5th place at the moment. In our crews, Neil Roskell, Andrew Ruffhead come here as championship leaders. They're in 6th place. And it's Steve Simpson, Patrick Walsh back in the seat after an off on the Manx. Hugh Brunson, Drew Sturrock, new to our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship crews for this round. Behind them, John Stone, Laura Connell, William Hill, Richard Crozier behind in the Rally 3. Rounding out our top 10 so far in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. To remind you, if you're just tuning in, this is the 4th round of the championship. We started in East Yorkshire on my local roads, the Reed Group East Riding Stage. We've had 2 rounds after a big gap on the Manx Rally 2 weeks ago, and now we're thick and fast into the action. Argyle is up next. But right now, it's the borders of Scotland. As you see, Oliver Hunter and Matt Daniels. Screams from the spectators on the anti-lag on that Mitsubishi. I suppose you don't get much anti-lag these days, but those Peugeot 208s are giving the spectators a bit of a feel for what anti-lag used to be as well.
Absolutely, don't they sound absolutely phenomenal? But yeah, you saw Kyle there really pushing on. The difference between a classic Mark II Escort and a modern front-wheel drive Peugeot there, really good to see. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he is on the times overall.
So Steve Ormond-Smith there hunting Oliver Hunter down. The Hunter becoming the hunted, quite literally. I'm not sure why those two have switched around on the order, perhaps road position, but they were quite close together as well, so perhaps Oliver had caught and passed Steve in that stage. Michael Renton, Ricky Finlayson through there in their Impreza. It's a long stage to kick things off this, particularly if you've been sat. You game plan when you go into the stage, Matt, you're ready to start the stage, and then you have a big gap like what we've just had. And I've been there as well, I know you have. You're almost past it by that point. You have to get your mind back into concentrating mode, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. It's easy just to kind of go off the boil as such, so you have to get back into it as soon as possible, get that concentration back and get everything back warm again.
Warm being the operative word, because it is cooling off here. As you see, Michael Harbour and Ian McDougall charging hard. Getting very close to the bank in that Mark II Escort. If you go to results.djames.org.uk, you'll be able to follow the results as they come through. Sam Adams, Michael Johnston, currently 14th overall. And I mentioned there'd be a battle between them and Darren Atkinson, and there is. Lee Hastings, Cole Hastings alongside. That Impreza sounds amazing on the overrun. A bit too much overrun, perhaps, over that crest just going out of the shot here, but it's the first stage of the day. 11.9 miles. And they're going to do this Long for Macca stage twice to open things up here on the first day of the Jim Clark. Some iconic bits of road here. It starts with the Abbey St Bathans part of the stage. Anth Eaton, Ian Jackson in their Fiesta R5 Plus. So yeah, Darren Atkinson and Sam Adams currently split by 8 seconds in 13th and 14th overall. Brad Cole, though, so far a bit of a class of his own in the two-wheel drive cars. You see Joe McCand and Charlotte McDowell through in their Impreza. Flash of the brake lights, maybe a little bit of a left foot braking over the top of that crest. A bit of settling the nerves a little bit over these blind crests, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. No, actually, they've come quite a long way through the stage, so you know the tyres could be getting quite warm, the brakes getting quite warm, and you just want to make sure you get to the end now. You're so far through and do it all again in half an hour's time or so.
Yeah, so Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan, currently in 10th place, rounding out the top 10, and they're only 3 seconds off the Polo R5 of John Stone and Laura Connell. That is one heck of a performance. William Hill, Richard Crozier, 0.9 of a second behind in that Rally 3 Fiesta, and 0.5 of a second behind them, Simon Bowen, Craig Simkis in the S2000T. So the back end of the top 10 in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship fight is looking exciting one stage in. I'd be interested to see how those times shape up when we have a second one of this stage, with the spotlights bolted on and the light dropping here in Long for Macca's. Chris Ford, Michael Hendry in their C3 R5. Take you back to the opening round, the Reed Group East riding stages, when James Ford, Chris's son, knocked his roof spoiler off the back of his and had to borrow his dad's for the second part of the rally. Adrian Spencer, Ashley Trimble there, talking to Adrian Spencer at the last round and on the Manx, and he's really enjoying his rallying at the moment. And we were talking to Scott Faulkner earlier about a couple of other competitors, I won't name them actually, who perhaps didn't enjoy the rallying as much, and we haven't seen them for some time. But Adrian Spencer really enjoying his rallying. He's done the WRC thing, he's had the bills, and he's now got a car that he's happy with, that he's just having fun out on the stages with. And it's nice to see competitors enjoying their rallying. And here's a man who's enjoying it and getting the results as well. Archie Swinscoe, Jay Nicol in that Opel Adam went extremely well at the opening round. Sorry, at the opening round, the last round on the Manx. And he looked energised every time he got out of that Opel Adam, really enjoying himself. The Swinscoe family were having a great day in the Manx lanes until David Ryan and Paula Swinscoe had that issue with their R5. Jerry Fitzell, Mark Mason, another fast pair. And that Datsun Sunny behind, we were talking about that earlier, weren't we? It's quite out of position though. It's Jack Morton's dad in that Datsun, isn't it, Matt?
It is, and it was great to see on Shakedown this morning. Great to see something a bit different, but also it's competitive. You know, it's good to see something going quite so well, and really good thing to see on the stages.
Yeah, it's Phil Morton with Joe Hine Morton. Presume is that Jack's mum?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
I saw them on this event last year, and I took some photos of the car in the service there because it's a cracking looking thing.
It is nice to see something different as well. I think so far you looked on the entry list, like what a variety of cars we've got. It's good to see the different cars, the sounds, the speed. It's just really, really good to see.
If, like Matt and myself, you do like variety, we've got Vauxhall Novas coming up, RS 2000 Escorts, Talbot Sunbeams, Vauxhall Chevettes, Renault Clios. We've just had that Datsun Sunny come through. We've got Peugeot 205s coming up, and then a whole brace of R2s, R5s, Fiesta R200s. Ashley Morris back out in her Jig car, which has needed a jig after a fairly big off, a fairly sizable off. I saw her at Donington, and she was looking forward to getting back out in that car, so it'd be interesting to see her go as well. So we've got some, as Matt said, some real variety, and a few Land Rovers coming up as well later in the entry. If you're just tuning in, hello to you. If you're watching in the town centre in Duns, we hope you enjoyed the start. It's a fantastic atmosphere, the start of the Jim Clark. It's one of the highlights of the season for me. I'm gutted that we didn't have the time because we had to get into the stage early to go down to the start. I was there last year and really enjoyed having a wander around, and I hope it was 10 deep like it was last year. John Cleland was there quite a few years ago. He was in a D-type Jaguar. John Cleland just rolling through Duns town centre in a D-type Jaguar, Matt, when I was here years ago.
You don't see that very often, do you, in many places?
Andrew Cowan was heckling him as well, which I found hilarious.
I mean, it's all these names of days gone by. I guess that's one of the appeals of rallying, isn't it?
We've got a rally legend joining us, another rally legend, sorry Matt, joining us on tomorrow's live coverage. I got away with that one, I think, just. Louise Aitken-Walker, 1990 FIA Ladies World Rally Champion, and a true legend of the sport, local to the borders of Scotland from Duns. She'll be joining us on the live coverage tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that. She's one of my heroes. Heroes. We'll go with hero of the sport. I absolutely love Louise, and I'm looking forward to getting some of her stories as well. You saw Michael Glendinning through with Carrie Bates alongside there. And there's Alistair Stables and Neil Jones in their Vauxhall Chevette. See, I told you we'd get some variety coming up. They straight away. Impreza, Vauxhall Chevette. We've got some Escorts coming up. We've got a Honda Civic. Going to hear some revs. We've got Dave McIntyre in his C2 R2 Max coming. They sound absolutely formidable. But where have they all gone, Matt?
That is one of the life's big questions.
It's one of life's mysteries. Where have all the C2 R2s gone? Lucy Wigley loves me talking about this because she'd quite like to know where they've gone as well, because the parts supply must be drying up as well as the cars on the stages.
They must be. I did see one for sale recently, and I thought, oh, I like it just for the sound, I think.
Yeah, you stick with your micro kit car for now. Maybe you could graduate to a C2 R2 when they become classic kit cars as well. followed by Chris Thompson. Ron Roughhead alongside. And there was Peter Gibson and Chris Dodds in their Mitsubishi Evo 6. You often find on the Jim Clark, a bit like the Manx, you get a lot of local crews out. Mike East there with Glyn Thomas alongside. They're anything but local. They're from Farnham and Western Supermare respectively in that EDSL Sport Run R2 Fiesta. Tim Johnson, Roger Burkill there in there. Are they FN2, FN, or EK9? I don't know. It's a Honda Civic.
It is a Honda Civic, and yeah,
No, it's not an EK9. EK what? Come on, you're a French rally man, Scott Faulkner. You should know your fellow. Oh, of course, it's Japanese. How on earth did I do that?
A man of your knowledge of these stages and cars, Paul.
We'll skip briefly over that one.
I did.
Producer Wayne missing that one entirely, but I'll go with what he said, Scott. The sun just starting to drop and it's getting cooler out here on this first stage of the day, and while that might have an impact on us stood out here, it also has an impact on the stage as well, because a lot of these crews will have been expecting to go through the stage a lot earlier when things were warmer. And a brief gap in the action, which means we'll be running later into the night. Barry Renwick, Steve Dargan alongside in their Mark II. We're just waiting for Mark Holmes and Mark Perryman in their similar B13 Mark II here in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, but we're not going to get them just yet, because this Tom Middlemiss, Richard Stewart alongside in their Corsa. The colours as you look down that part of the stage, and this long shot we've got with the yellow, whatever the plant is on the right hand side, and you've got the sun just setting in the distance. It's a nice scene, isn't it?
And this is what makes riding what it is, isn't it? Stood out here, obviously, fantastic scenery. Everyone just enjoying themselves, competitors, crews, marshals. And yeah, you just can't beat it on a night like tonight.
No, if you can't be here, we're bringing you all of the experience and the action from behind your screens, wherever you are, whether you're at work tonight, whether you're at home. And tomorrow we'll have live stages for you throughout the day as well. So do join us. The only thing we can't bring you is the full feel of the atmosphere, which is really good. There's a lot of spectators out, and also the smell of the cars to go with the sound, because the smell of hot brakes is notable this evening. We are 3/4 of the way into this 11.9 mile long Formaca stage, and these cars have done some pretty hard work on the way here. That was the sound of the Sump Guard doing some hard work on that Escort RS 1800 of Jeff Roberts and Graham Wild. So I mentioned Archie Swinscoe and Jane Nichol and their pace last time out in that Vauxhall Adam. Well, 19th overall as things stand. And at the moment, leading the B10 runners as well. There's Mark Holmes and Mark Perryman, mentioned them a few minutes ago. And, Kev Dunn and Sean Douglas having a real wobble on with that Honda Civic. That one's the FN2, isn't it?
That is an FN2, and he was going really well there.
That's Japanese as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely Japanese. You can tell by the revs.
Anne Theaton just in front of Archie Swinscoe and Jane Nichol at the moment in that Fiesta R5, 18th on the overall leaderboard. So at the moment, Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan, really head of the class in the two-wheel drive cars. In 10th place, William Hill and Richard Crozier in that Rally 3 Fiesta, just 0.9 behind them and 0.5 behind them in 12th place. Simon Bowe and Craig Simkis. That's going to be one heck of a battle going into the second stage tonight when the spot lamps are on and it becomes a very, very different challenge. these stages look very different when you're picking them out from behind a set of spot lamps. Matt Jackson.
It is. It all of a sudden looks very, very different. I guess that's all part of the challenge and the appeal, actually, yeah.
It's something, though, that we don't, or rally drivers in this country, don't get an awful lot of chance to practice. There aren't that many, and there was a thread, actually, on Facebook recently where someone asked, why don't we have as many night stages? You know, should we have more? And unless you've done road rallying, you're not necessarily going to be into the swing of driving in the night.
No, definitely. I was going to say road rallying is how we get the most practice. I would love to do more night stages. I think the appeal is just brilliant. But yeah, we don't get enough opportunity, I don't think, over here.
I always get to use my nutter by name, nutter by nature phrase when Rob Nutter comes through in that Corolla AE86. Absolutely cracking car. Absolutely love those Corollas. We need more of them out rallying. I got to drive one recently and it was a glorious thing. Here we go. Pulling those gears in that C2R2. Now you see why Matt Jackson would like a C2R2 just for the noise, because they do sound absolutely incredible. Dave McIntyre, Cameron Dunn in their C2R2 Max. Stephen Woe, Mark Broadbent in their Fiesta there in the, are they in the BRC junior? They're not junior anymore, they were junior, and they're in the senior category now. Matt shrugging as well. I've done my research on the Protyre Motorsport UK crew, so yeah, no, exactly. No, I don't think he's in the junior category anymore. It's in BRC 4. Yeah, Alex Allingham owned the Corolla AE86 that I was looking at to have a bit of a play in, or still does own it, and just great cars. John Trenholm, Alistair Trenholm in their Subaru. So have Sam Cox, Paul Brown through next in their Renault Clio. That's a French car, Scott. Can't believe I did that. If my wife's listening, she'll be really disappointed in me. To remind you then, and we're talking about the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship leaderboard here. So if you're looking at the overall rally leaderboard, that will of course have a few different names. Adrian Formo, Alexandra Corrier leading the way there, with Keith Cronin and Mickey Galvin behind. Gary Pearson, Daniel Barrett, local crew in third place as things stand. The first of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship competitors out there in the overall leaderboard. Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn lead the way in our championship contenders at this stage. Callum Black, Jack Morton, after that emphatic victory on the Manx last time out, second place, just 6 seconds behind. What's all the excitement about, Matt? You're all suddenly rustling things, and producer Wayne's looking all interested. What on earth is going on here?
The nice warm cup of coffee is just about to come out, so it's the
they're tea bags.
and the coffee's in there so much. There we go. Like, I almost cried for a second then.
Everyone's getting very excited because the coffee and the tea is coming out here on the bank at the side of this Long for Macca's stage. It's not that cold yet. Matt Jackson is not used to being out here in these kinds of conditions. Start to see your breath. Just wait until the second run of the. I'm not gonna go there. You're tempting me. Jerry Vaughan, hello to you, watching from home. Brad and Jamie going well. Keep it up, boys and team. Actually, Jerry might be in the service area. Willie Mole watching from Mallorca. That sounds nice. There you go, Matt. Watching from Mallorca. Mind you, say you didn't like the sunshine, didn't you? That sounds nice, doesn't it? Factor 50. Even in these conditions now, at what time is it? 20 past 9 on a Friday evening, and Matt Jackson's piling on the factor 50. Bless him. Stan Kusera is watching. Do like his photos.
I do.
Dramatic. So that means he's not out here taking them. Mark Constantine, great stage. He loves this one. Should be on it. Chris Anderson asking if we've got any idea why the stage has been stopped again. Well, nope, you're telling me, but we're not sure. But we have got the second stage to go, so we're going to bring you live action from stage 2 again in this long Fermacher stage. Another 11.9 mile blast through these iconic Scottish border lanes to go tonight. So I think we'll round things off there while we get set up for the second stream. So apologies, that's been a little bit disjointed, but all credit to the organisers for getting things back underway and getting this first stage through so that we can get on with stage 2. So spot lamps will be on, the sun will be down, and it will be quite dramatic when we come back here. And if I can, I will make sure we've still got Matt Jackson and Scott Faulkner along with us on this live coverage of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Do join us in, well, it'll be in about half an hour, I should imagine, something like that. But we've lost all track of times now because the organisers will be pulling whatever they can back to get that stage started as soon as possible tonight. So stage 2 on the way here, live on special stage very shortly. We'll see you then.